Hello, one and all. Welcome once again to the A2theK Wrestling Show. As always, I'm your not so glamorous host, Karl. Joining me as always, the guy who puts the fucking A in A2theK, the glamorous one himself, the podfather. It's Anthony. Anthony, say hello to the people.
Hello, one and all. I feel like I need to match Carl's energy, but I'm going to need a drink or two first. Sorry, Carl, but I love the exuberance and the extravagance, but I need at least one whiskey first. What a fun-filled week we have in store, though, Carl. I mean, I love doing this podcast every week, Carl. So naturally, The highlight of my night, the highlight of the night, Carl.
It is.
This.
Well,
so. Go on, you're going to do it. I feel like I'm taking over your bit. Do it,
well,
man.
no, I was going to say, if you want to highlight, before we jump into what we're going to talk about, which is pretty much the same as we do every week.
Every damn week.
Around about that time that we listen to the funky one himself, our pal, Road Dogg.
Oh, you didn't know?
Because it is once again time for the A2theK little known fact of the week. And, Anthony, the King of Kings, the game, the cerebral assassin himself, Triple H, has had one hell of a career, I'm sure you will agree. But did you know?
Couldn't deny.
Did you know? He actually made his debut in professional wrestling by beating future member of D-Generation X, Road Dogg. Little did we know, back in WCW, when Bryan Armstrong would take on Terrorizing, because that was his name, Triple H, back in the day. Because so funny, so catchy.
Why not?
But little did we know when Triple H first made his debut that he would then go on to be part of one of the most influential factions of all time, taking along with him the guy he made his debut with in ultimately Road Dogg, who it would end up being, and still to this day working together in NXT. So just a nice little trip down memory lane this week.
I love the fact that actually included the Road Dogg himself.
Well, that was it. I thought it's about time we gave back, Road Dogg facts about Road Dogg. Yeah, that would make sense. But yeah, that was this week's.
Oh, you didn't know?
Oh, you didn't know.
I do love this segment. I learned so much from you, Carl. It's great. It's an education.
Like a fountain of wrestling knowledge. A professor. Professor, if you will.
Well, I feel like we should move into a place where there's literally no wrestling knowledge, and that's the news and rumours for the week. So I'll run through the headlines for this week's Ringside Report, if I may, Carl, and then we'll talk about some of the stuff that's come up.
You may.
Awesome. So, this week, Carl, apparently there's been a robbery at the Thunderdome.
What?
Apparently, Daniel Bryan may not actually be a part of the WWE New Japan Pro Wrestling talks. Apparently... No, I probably should stop doing that, actually. Jesse Kamea has offended fans with a tweet relating to a T-shirt. We'll talk about that some more. That's I'm actually... No, we'll talk about that when we get to it. Stop it. Right. GCW has had a lawsuit filed against them. Why? We'll tell you why. We have a new wrestling academy set in Wigan, in the north of England, for our American listeners. And they hope to find the next northern prodigy, let's say. Obviously, let's cite an example being Davey Boy. So we'll talk about that some more. I mean, there is a lot of heritage in that area, so that'd be interesting. The big, probably the big speculative thing that's been happening for, I'd say, the last week, maybe more, Carl, is WWE for sale. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about some of the stuff that's cropped up that might make you think it is. And might make you think, who knows? We don't. We have... Did you know Carlito's not been heard? No, Carlito has not heard from... Wow, I'm good at this. I'm so good at this. I haven't even drank it yet. Carlito himself has not heard from WWE since his appearances at the Royal Rumble and subsequent Raw. We have Aleister Black on his Twitch account actually shared part of his unreleased new theme that he was going to use in WWE before he was future endeavoured, Carl. So anyone interested, we'll tell you a bit more about that shortly. We have a company, Clearbridge Investments, are selling their WWE stock. Could this be a sign of dipping interest or potential in WWE? Who knows? And lastly, Carl, we have Braun Strowman teasing his post-WWE future. What could it be? I don't know, probably bodybuild. So, that's the headlines, Carl. That's the headlines.
Okay.
You want to kick us off with the robbery at the Thunderdome?
A robbery at the Thunderdome, you say? Yes, there has been a robbery at the Thunderdome. So the University of South Florida Police Department have issued a crime alert around the how do you even say this? Yuenling Center, wherever the fuck they are at the minute, the Thunderdome, basically. So yeah, it basically says
I'll be honest,
that.
in my head I've been saying Yuling Centre, but I don't know if that's right. It made me feel
Yeah, I
like
mean,
I'm saying it wrong.
Youngling, yeah, Youngling. I don't really know. Maybe the G is silent.
Yeah.
So the Thunderdome,
The Thunder.
the Thunderdome has been robbed. So yeah, apparently a guy was walking around backstage removing several items from the venue that supposedly belonged to WWE.
I wish I'd known
Based
it was
on,
that fucking easy.
I know, yeah.
Microphones, could have got some title belts. It would have been fucking brilliant.
I mean, yeah. I mean, well, by all accounts, who was it? Someone who left basically accused. Was it Carano? I think it was Mark Carano. Was accused of basically stealing a load of wrestling belts, wasn't he?
Didn't his
Hiding
ex
them
say
under his
that he had
bed.
a load under his bed or something?
Yeah, which is the most Mark Carano thing ever. But yeah, so obviously some photographs have been kind of put out there by the University of South Florida Police Department, and yeah, it's just a guy in a salmon t-shirt walking around with a duffel bag of sorts that apparently has possessions in. I'm sure it's just
That's right, guys.
inside,
He's not your typical burglar.
inside
Wasn't
that
wearing
duffel bag.
stripes. Didn't have his giant sack with the dollar sign on it. None of that. No.
That's it.
Subtle.
That's it.
Subtle he was.
He was. I know. I'm sure inside this duffel bag were just a load of other, bin bags with various wrestlers, to be released wrestlers' possessions in. So they're not that arsed that the stuff's been stolen because it's for people who probably aren't going to work there anytime soon. But yeah, the audacity
when
of
it
the
comes
guy.
out that they were just like jumping the gun and he was just emptying the bins or something.
Yeah.
So the trash cans, guys.
Yeah, the trash. But yeah, like what a bold motherfucker! Just rocks up at the Thunderdome. It's like, yeah, people won't know. I'll just say I'm a wrestler. I'm just here in catering, which most of them are. And then yeah, I'll just go around and steal some people's shit. So yeah,
I mean,
look,
I'm not a thief, right? But sometimes opportunity accidentally lends itself, right? And this is totally unrelated, but I once went for blood tests, right? On my way
what
to
did
work.
you steal?
No, I didn't steal anything. But my point is, like, how easy would it be? Because this is totally unrelated. I just thought I'd share it with you. So I once went for blood tests, and I was on my way to work, so I was, suit and tie. And I'm there, and I'm like, I go in, and the first thing she says to me, rather than taking me blood or assuming I was there for the appointment, was like, "Are you here for the computers?" And I was like, part of me's like, yes, I am. But I was too honest to the guy about it. But my point is, I could have walked away with a lot of computers that day. So,
like that would have been,
yeah.
That is fucking brilliant. I love that. Some people are just insane, aren't they? Like, he's in a shirt and tie. He's probably important. You could basically just get away with anything, couldn't you? You rock up somewhere in a suit and tie, and people will just be like, yeah, you give him the stuff. Yeah, why not?
Yeah, so all I'm saying is this guy might have just wandered in and they've gone, "Oh, are you here to collect them title belts for Vince?" And he's gone, "Yep, it's me."
Absolutely am, yes. So yeah, hopefully, I mean, I want the guy to be caught and found, obviously because he's stolen people's stuff, but I also want to know what he stole, to be fair. Like, was it just
let's face it, WWE is struggling at the minute. I mean, they can't afford pyrotechnics, they're having to let people go. They can't afford, like, this guy stealing a duffel bag's worth of stuff.
Exactly. They've got to.
I feel like I'm condoning this thief. Like, no, you shouldn't steal. It's bad.
Yeah. So yeah, just a bit of a small one to kick off the show this week. But yeah, bizarre. Hopefully that bastard gets himself caught.
Swiper, no swiping.
Swiper, no swiping.
Sorry, I have kids.
I didn't even know Dora was a thing anymore. It's brilliant.
They've done it again on, like, well, I'd say, I don't know if it's necessarily on Netflix, but it's on Netflix and it's like slightly better animation or whatever. I don't know. Anyway, Carl. So we've got some more info from Uncle Dave, right? And this is regarding the reports of a deal between WWE and New Japan Pro Wrestling. And essentially, he's suggesting that the the deal was sort of in talks before the whole Daniel Bryan contract debacle, and has since not included. They haven't involved Daniel Bryan in any of the early discussions, and it sounds like he potentially may just be a totally free agent, and they're not doing this as a mechanism to keep him, as I mentioned last week, which was one of the suggestions because he wants to work New Japan. I mean, this could be like a surprising consequence of if he goes, yeah, I'm a free agent now, I'm going to do what I want. So he goes to work New Japan, and then they reel him back in. They reel him back in, not even trying to. But yeah, it just seems that it's been sort of Nick Khan's been essentially the point man on it, and was suggesting to let's pursue this as a deal, and it's not really factored into WWE, the whole Daniel Bryan element of it. Apparently, I don't know what you make of that, Carl, but I find that interesting because I thought this was sort of some of the mechanism. To be honest, I genuinely did, because some of the comments he made before his contract ended with about wanting to be able to stay with WWE and work other places. So it seems like this was the perfect way of doing that, but apparently it's not centered around Daniel Bryan. Who'd have thought it?
I just don't get this whole thing, to be honest. I do not have any understanding what WWE will get out of a New Japan partnership. I don't know where the fuck it's come from.
I told you what they'll get. I'm not gonna mention him again this week.
Just
so
don't just leave it.
Say.
You know, you talk about me and Drew McIntyre, you and fucking Tamatonga. Oh shit, said it. No, what have I done? But yeah, I honestly I can't fathom it. It doesn't make any sense. They're two completely different companies at this stage. They're not, WWE's never been more fucking sports entertainment than it is today. And ironically, leaves you not entertained in the slightest. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's random. I have no idea what's going on with Daniel Bryan. It would be so crazy if he has just left and he's going to rock up somewhere like AEW or somewhere like that. I can't see it personally. I think he's got too many ties to WWE, but yeah, ultimately it reeks of Uncle Dave not having a fucking clue last week.
Last few weeks of AEW, Carl. I feel more and more like Daniel Bryan could be in AEW because they love having unrealistically small guys beat massive behemoths of men. So let's just keep that going.
Well, yeah,
that's right. True. I'm still bitter.
Got issues. Speaking of issues, and you're a bastard because Anthony, he is the guy who drops in the news links every week for us to talk about. And I clicked on the link, and page can't be found. So I've got to riff on this one a little bit. But basically,
you're joking. That was working just fine.
Bullshit.
Damn you,
bullshit. I think you did it on purpose. But
well, do you want me to
it's
help
cool.
you out with this one?
It's cool. I got it.
Do you know what the offensive T-shirt was?
No, but I have found an alternative, so I'll chat through it, and you can sprinkle in some knowledge. So Jessie Camilla. Oh wait, this is anything about this story? No, I kid. So she apparently shared some photos of herself wearing a T-shirt that said "End racism and make mixed babies" on Twitter.
Yeah, that was the shirt.
So, according to her, she had to take down the post due to the backlash that she received. And
she took down the website that reported on the post. That's some power.
Well, yeah, damn. But she basically issued a statement that said, "I want to apologise about the T-shirt post. I didn't realise it would offend so many people in such a negative way. My intention was to support a friend and also support the message of ending racism. I'm a mixed baby. I'm very proud of all my heritages, so the shirt looked cool to me. I'm shocked and enlightened by all of your responses. Thank you. I hope you all have a nice day."
I mean, this may be coming from a place of ignorance, but was it tremendously offensive?
End racism, make mixed babies. Yeah, I mean, I'm not offended by it, but a lot of people get offended by a lot of things. But
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not even going to open that can of worms any further. I'm just surprised it was the offence that has been around in the world over the years.
Yeah, I can think of a lot more offensive things you can put on a shirt, Yeah. But hey, if it's offended certain people, obviously we live in an age where a lot of people get offended by a lot of things. Obviously, with her being in the public eye,
best way you can put that. Best way.
And obviously, potentially being a role model, etc., for a lot of people she took the decision to take it down off the back of that backlash. So, yeah.
The difficulty with being on such a public platform and being, like you say, a role model essentially to people.
Yeah.
Like,
I know I struggle with that on a daily basis. All our fans. Fan.
Luckily, I don't
he
think.
left.
Yeah. Hey.
Hey, you. You
I
in New Jersey. Who are you?
I don't think we'll ever be classed as role models, even if we have fans.
Yeah, that's a very good point. A couple of weeks ago, my dad actually watched one of our episodes, and he just said, "I couldn't believe it. Within the first 5 minutes, you must have dropped the F-bomb about 23 times," which I thought was fucking hilarious. So yeah,
we're not that fucking bad, are we?
Well, fuck him anyway. I kid.
Maybe we should try and curb the language a bit.
Fuck that.
There's a bunch of sensitive cunts out there. We need to maybe be careful about that, you know.
Damn, C-bombs.
I know. Sorry, do you know what? Here's the thing, right? Sorry, I'm going off the rails again. That is my favorite. Like, it's like super offensive to people, but it's like my favorite swear word. Like, I do enjoy using. I think I need to reserve it for use when it's properly deserved, I suppose. But like, that's like what's your favorite swear word, Carl? Because like, I don't know, people like that. That's like a hyper offensive one to people, but I quite like it. I enjoy it.
Yeah, do you know what? I honestly don't know why that causes so much offence, to be fair. Like, it's just calling somebody a body part, a slang term for a body part. You know what I mean? Like, if I call you a bell end, people don't get as, offended by that. I don't really get the connotations with, or connotations with
plus,
that word.
Like, we like, I think we're quite northern as well. And I think the further up north you get, this might not be a proper rule, but the further up north you get, the more, like, cunt becomes almost like a friendly term, which is kind of weird.
Well, you've got Scottish heritage, haven't you? So I'm pretty sure, whole sentences just use the word cunt. So
exactly. So I hope Gary's enjoying this one.
Thanks, Dad. Keep listening.
Change the word.
He's our one fan.
Sorry, I digressed again slightly, but yeah, I just I find it because like aren't like all swear words are kind of treated the same. You know what I mean? Like, in this country you can't say them at a certain time on TV and stuff like that. It doesn't matter what the word is. So why do some words feel more offensive than others? I don't get it.
It's a very good point. To be fair, and I'm sounding old here, but we were in the car not too long ago, and there was it was like middle of the afternoon, maybe, or maybe even early morning, and there was a song from some young scallywag rapper guy that typically would have. No, I mean that's his name, young scallywag rapper guy. That's his rap name. But yeah, like none of the lyrics were censored, and I was just like, so is this allowed now? I don't know. When did that happen? So
none of the words made sense either.
Well, I mean, maybe that's why they couldn't understand the rap, so they just didn't get that it was, But still,
because I'm not up with all the teenage vernacular, as it were.
No, it's being down. That's where you're going wrong. You can't be up, but you got to be down.
Damn it! See what I mean?
See,
so I don't know. I might be being insulted. I have no idea.
So Jesse, come here. Not allowed to show pictures of certain T-shirts. Is the news story.
Cool. Okay, next one, Carl. GCW. Have you heard of them?
Yep.
GCW.
I certainly have. We should have probably put this in the news this week.
Remember?
We should have put this in the news this week. Actually, did you see the thing that happened the other day with Moxley being teased and it wasn't Moxley? Did you see that? No.
Didn't see it.
Basically, Nick Gage is meant to be having a feud with Moxley on Twitter and also with Matt Cardona.
The guy from Mortal Kombat.
Hollywood Nick Gage. But no, so basically there was these 3 masked druids, and they were all dressed up and gonna, take out Nick Gage, and then one of them started doing all these Moxley mannerisms, and everyone was like, "It's Mox!" And then it turned out to be Matt Cardona, and it was like, "Wow, Matt Cardona's
Of course, it was Matt Cardona.
Gonna have a death match and probably be very David Arquette."
It definitely seems like the type. Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, GC Dubs.
Woo. Anyway,
you know it.
So GCW, Carl. This is interesting to those who follow GCW, I suppose, and I don't know. We'll see what happens ultimately. And I suppose when we report on WWE that much, you go, that's not even that big a lawsuit, but it is, really. But in a company, independentwrestling.tv, or IWTV, are suing GCW, citing breach of contract, and they're suing for the tune of $500,000. And they believe that the contract breach was due to the fact that IWTV, why do I want to throw a G in there? That's weird. IWTV are claiming that they held exclusive rights to GCW pay-per-view events. And obviously, this is the element of the breach, that there has been some sort of stream or viewing of that has not involved them. So that's the reason for the suit, Carl. What do you make of this one? What do you make of it?
Yeah.
Well, this could be the type of stuff that screws over the little guys. All I'm saying, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, little guy always gets screwed over.
Yeah. So we'll be interested to see where this goes. But I mean, do you think? Because I'm looking at it like, it's not that big a sum, but I don't know. You know, I don't really get into all the finance side of it. So a GCW big enough to handle that kind of thing if it went in their favour? This is the problem.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a tough one. Obviously, they are pretty much a kind of a backyard deathmatchy type company, so they have got quite a bit of popularity around them at the moment. But yeah, I don't. In terms of finances and stuff, yeah, who knows?
Yeah, well, it apparently because this might be something to do with them becoming bigger, as it were, because apparently some of the streams were through Fight TV, which obviously are a more, certainly for us in the UK, a more well-known company than IWTV. So it might be that they've gone for a bigger platform thinking they get away with it. I don't know. Well, interesting stuff, and we'll probably have to mention it again when we know what's happened with the lawsuit. But yeah, that's the latest one. GCW being sued for $500,000. 500,000. Yeah, that felt right.
$500,000. So the next one to talk about, Anthony, wrestling school back in Wigan. So anyone who knows me knows that I used to go to a wrestling school in Wigan. That obviously ended up, Wigan, England. It's nowhere in America. There's nowhere in America called Wigan. Let's be honest. It's the most unique place ever. You can't get in America. You can't get a Babby's Head P wet. You know what I'm saying? You can't get one of them.
That is gonna lose a lot of people.
Yeah, you want to Google that Babby's Head P wet. You can also Google a Wigan kebab. Now that's something else.
Kebab feels like an abomination, but it
is. It
actually,
really is.
I know it's not, though, is it? Let's you definitely have one.
100% carbohydrates. But anywho,
so all carb, no protein.
Basically, yeah. But no, there is a new wrestling academy opening up in Wigan called Claw. So it's been brought to us. It basically stands for the Combat Learning Academy of Wrestling. It's opened up in Brookhouse Terrace. It offers training in mixed styles from the very historical Wigan's own catch can wrestling through to WWE, Lucha Libre style, etc. So it's being opened by Jay Apter, as well as a couple of other people. One of the trainers is a former guest of the show. Our friend Lizzie Evo, the TNT Extreme Wrestling Women's Champion herself, has signed on to be one of the trainers there.
Who hasn't reached the news, by the way, but has actually now returned to wrestling. Had her first match again, first match since the pandemic, should I say, this week, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So she's back on form and now a trainer as well. Awesome.
Well, that's it. I was made up for it, to be fair. I know she's been missing it for so long, obviously being on the sidelines, so she's made up to be back at it. And yeah, as we say, she's now got the trainer moniker to be added to her repertoire as well. But yeah, I think it's so good. Like, wrestling and Wigan just go hand in hand, really. They've got such a fucking, storied history. Davey Boy, we've already spoken. We spoke with Georgia, his daughter, at length around. Obviously,
I was a bit unsure whether like the saying Wigan as because it obviously falls under Wigan's region. Like when you get into it, but like. I'm wondering, are the people from Goulburn going to be annoyed that he's classed as like a hero of Wigan? I don't know.
Well, I mean, he trained in catch can at Wigan, even though he's from Goulburn, but so did the likes of Dynamite Kid, and a lot of the guys from way back when World of Sport days as well. So it's got such a storied history and tradition in pro wrestling and catch can, and I think it's great to have wrestling back in Wigan, really, because I know there's been a few promotions that I've trained under. GPW, which moved to Manchester, Nitro Pro, which I think it's which I think it's defunct now, unfortunately. But it's great to actually have a school back there. And from what I've seen, it looks awesome as well. Obviously, they've got the likes of Lizzie as trainers as well. So they're doing something right. And nicely, they're also in association with TNT Extreme Wrestling. So obviously they're based in Liverpool, but I guess this is kind of like another opportunity for the students of this training school to, hopefully get some match time.
The TNT, it's a sign of the faith that they've got in the training academy as well, because they're hoping to pick some talent from there quite clearly. So,
well, absolutely,
which is pretty awesome. Yeah.
But
obviously, if you guys want to know more, and you follow us on Instagram, which you probably do, or Twitter, I think we're following them on both now. Carl, correct me if I'm wrong. So you can find them anyway, just searching Claw.
No, you must go specifically through us.
But my point is, we follow them, so there's a quick avenue to find them. But looks awesome, and we look forward to keep an eye on sort of the legends that come from there. Let's say.
Absolutely, and who knows, Anthony? Maybe we will grace the gym with our presence one day ourselves.
My fucking Father Christmas ain't bringing no present.
Well, you were making a list, and I thought you checked it twice. But yeah, so awesome news for Wigan, awesome news for Claw, and yeah, it's great to finally have wrestling return to Wigan, and great news for Lizzie, great news for British wrestling as a whole.
Great news for Britain.
Mm-hmm.
So Carl, this might be, I might be overestimating when I say this might be a long topic, because it's very speculative at this point. It's been being talked about all week, so there's a few different areas. But my next one is the speculation: is WWE for sale? So this is obviously spun from the recent bout of releases, and not so much that they've released people, because we're kind of getting used to that now. But I think for the fact that it's like you had the likes of Braun Strowman tweeting about can't wait to be back in front of the real crowds, and then 4 days later is released. So we weren't expecting it quite clearly. You had the likes of Aleister Black, who clearly pointed out that he had a new theme music. They made it very obvious he was about to go into a program with Kevin Owens, and then he was released. And it just seems like some big names were released very suddenly. So this sort of sparked the speculation of like, are they clearing house? I think you mentioned last week, like they were on some money contracts, and it was made more sense from a selling point of view to release them from those contracts and sort of bring the cost element down, I suppose, for anyone who does purchase. We've also had this, and this is one of them things where I get a little bit like, yeah, okay. But we've had recent things where people have gone, I've spoke to 5 WWE investors who are all saying that there's definitely no word or no signs on a sale. And I'm like, well, of course you'd say that. Because why would you want to ruin your investment by making that clear and then potentially pushing your stock price down? So, and I'm no fucking financial expert if anyone wants to come at me over that one. But surely that rumour of it being sold is a worrying one. So therefore it would cause problems for them. So of course you're going to fucking deny it. So I don't...
Yeah.
I think there's something in the offing. I think there's... Look at the amount of releases they've had over this year alone. Well, not this year. Last year. The pandemic alone, right, and the fact that we've mentioned it all the time, but they've record-breaking profits, so they didn't need to. They weren't struggling, and it just seems like there's something going on. But so many people are like, well, I think it was 40 years today, maybe, Carl, or certainly this week, that Vince McMahon has owned WWE, or since he took over, or whatever the thing is. But it's a long time, and you go, well, it's been his baby. Can you see him honestly getting rid? But I don't know. I don't know how to feel.
Yeah, I think something's definitely up. I think when they brought Nick Khan in the first place, you can just look, not even just from a on-screen personnel standpoint, but I think, as you've mentioned, he's been cleaning house backstage of different, divisions within the company, and is really trying to make a streamlined operation.
Look at the writers, production staff, all of that side has been like condensed down to one team now. That's insane.
Yeah, exactly.
Never used to be like that.
But for me, right, this is exactly what happened with the UFC when the Fertittas sold it. like no one knew that it was happening. There was a little bit of speculation. Any investor, anyone who was close, it was like, nah, we'd never sell. And the next minute, fucking overnight, boom, it was sold to this consortium for a shitload of money. And you know, they all got
money.
they all got ridiculously rich off the back of it. So, but, you know, knowing Vince like we know Vince, he will want to beat that deal, even if it's just by a penny, just so he can be the the biggest global sporting brand sale that's ever happened. But
I look at like Triple H clearly has a passion for the business, but there's no saying he can't still be involved in some way and take a massive fucking payday from his shares in the company. You just don't know. You don't know how these things work. And you know, a wholesale like from Vince to some big company, surely people can still hold shares in it as well. So I don't know. Like, does Triple H necessarily have to back away just because Vince did? I don't know. He's got the control and share it. And obviously there's the massive rumours, and I think you made this very clear to me when I was moaning about Peacock, is that, you know, the mouse could be taken over. Like, that is a very real possibility because the mouse owns CBS, they own Peacock, so there's no reason the Peacock deal might even echo that and make you go, well, okay, maybe it's going to be a Disney product soon.
Maybe feels like a fucking Disney product already.
Disney theme matches soon.
I mean, if you think about it, not too long ago you had Riddle with his little songbirds and stuff when he would do his entrance.
They're from Snow White, aren't they?
Well, you know, just saying. Mary Poppins-esque as well, if you will.
Wait a minute. You're onto it?
Well, that's it. I mean,
his train was the Polar Express.
Yeah, but the thing was, it cost too much money to make that sound effect, and that's why it got binned. But yeah, so who knows? All I can say is that, you know, all the signs are there, and unless Vince McMahon is a lollipop man who's also a thief, which would explain all the signs being there, you know, it's pointing to a sale.
We know the Thunderdomes were robbed, mate, and you know, one guy's took them all, and as you say, all the signs are there.
All the signs are there. So yeah, I don't know. Everything seems to be pointing to that. There's no reason on earth why they would make such excessive cuts during their most profitable year ever. And yeah, fine, they haven't gone on tour and stuff like that. They've still, it's still their most profitable year without even being on tours.
And that saves them money.
Yeah, so it's kind of just like, yeah, it's, for me, it just reeks of streamlining.
Even on, like, I know they don't make ticket sales. I get that, right? So there's a loss there, but surely that must balance in the fact that there's no travel cost, and they've probably got a decent deal for renting one arena for a extended period of time. So I don't think the loss will have been that great from losing ticket sale money. Again, come at me if you want, but I'm no financial expert, so fuck knows.
That's it. So yeah, interesting one. My verdict, yeah, it's for sale.
There we have it. Come back next year when we're going, well, I guess we were wrong.
which is a frequent thing, to be fair. Come back on any podcast and we'll be wrong about something. So, the next one I want to talk about, Carlito. Won't do our podcast, but he's done, you know, another one. The Angle podcast. Whoever the host of that guy. Yeah.
Whoever asked him?
No, I don't think we have actually. I would love to have him on the show, to be fair, at some point. But still,
he's your namesake. So
there you go. And I like to spit in people's faces, you know, pre-COVID. So, to be fair, his whole gimmick's dead, isn't it? Let's be honest. I spit in the face of people who don't want to be cool. Except I've still got my mask on, so I end up just spitting all over myself. But yeah, anyway, I digress. He was on the Angle podcast recently, and he brought up, obviously, the appearance he made at the Royal Rumble earlier this year, and the subsequent appearance he made on Raw the night after. But he said it was just the Rumble, and the night before they asked him if he could do Raw as well, and he was like, yeah, sure, but he's had absolutely no communication since that Raw appearance. I think it was rumoured at the time he was going to be trying to get like a trainer, not a trainer, like
interesting actually, because that proves that like people like to jump on that whenever you see a legend make an appearance, but it shows you that sometimes that's BS because it seems there's been no real communication after that legend appearance. Like,
well, exactly.
Yeah, we don't care. And why would you not want to sign the man, other than the fact that you're selling everyone? Why would you not want to sign the man? He looked fucking ace at the Rumble. Yeah,
I mean, it was the best you know we've ever seen him, really, from a physique standpoint, from just a character standpoint as well. You know, he looked like he could have been like a main eventer, which is, you know, he's always had the pedigree to be. But yeah, he just said that he hasn't heard anything from WWE, and he hasn't really heard anything from any of the competitors either, like AEW or anyone like that. He just said, you know what, he's open to
What the fuck
whatever.
is that?
I know. He said he's open to whatever. Whoever wants to use him, he's willing to listen. But he's been doing his own thing for all of these years.
I feel like, are
So
they all like there? Like, I mean, we could ask him, but he's a spitter, and
yeah, we can't do that in COVID. It's going to come back and bite us in the ass. But yeah, he was also asked about Trash Bag Gate. He said, to be honest, he doesn't even remember. He said he just don't even think that he got wished well in his future endeavours, and he didn't actually. But yeah, there was
I think you've cited that before, haven't you? It was a very unceremonious. He's gone. Get over it.
He's like pretty much one of the only people who's ever been fired and not been wished well in that way. So yeah, I don't really know the full extent of it, but I know there was some stuff going on.
That's the only reason they brought him back at the Rumble, because they've now wished him well in his future endeavours.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's an interesting one. He has gone on to say that he would love to have a producer role or a trainer role in one of these companies, and just about giving back and helping the younger guys develop again. But I don't know. I think he's still got a year or two in him.
I'd love to see him have another run in it. Yeah. Like, when you're looking at the likes of like Edge and that still in there, and still look at Ace, by the way. He's in that caliber now, isn't he? Where you're like, well, you'd be putting over younger talent and so on like that, but why not? We just want to see him have a run in well, I was going to say in the WWE. I'm not really bothered where, as long as it's something I watch. AEW. I don't want to be one of them guys like, oh, you should go to AEW. Like, everyone's like, look, guys, they're going to be employing thousands of people if you say that with everyone. But I was
just more thinking you were like, I just want to see him have a run. I don't care where, and he's just like running around his local park, like, and you're like, he did it.
Is this what you want?
I'm so happy for him.
But no, it's hopefully we see him in some company, and you know what, he will add value, even if it's like in a backstage capacity, in a producer role or something along that line. But as you say, it'd be great to see him in the ring again, at least for a period of time. Not to give any specifics there, Carl. A period of time. So, Carl, next one. I don't know whether you've had a listen. Don't know whether you've had a listen, or even care, actually. But obviously, Aleister Black was one of the surprising releases that has happened very recently with WWE. So surprising, in fact, that he was about to go into a feud with Kevin Owens, or it certainly seemed that way. He'd just been repackaged. He'd done a series of vignettes highlighting his story reading ability. I'm not quite sure what they were going for with that, I'll be honest with you. But on top of that, they'd actually done a new theme for him, which we hadn't got to hear, because obviously the only appearance we saw actually in the ring was when he interrupted a match, so obviously you don't play the theme at that point. But what Aleister Black was good enough to do for us was to play a little snippet of it on one of his Twitch streams, which you can find. I don't know if it's been saved on his Twitch, but you can certainly find a video knocking about the internet now. It's been tweeted a few different times. And it sounds like it was... I wasn't a massive fan of his old one, I'll be honest with you, theme-wise. And it's all kind of pointless now, because he's obviously just going to be... I think, what is his old name? Tommy End now, so that's what we're going to have. But he's not going to be able to use it, I don't think. But it's interesting to see how much they were putting into repackaging him, and how random the release was. It's still so strange. But what do you make of it? Did you have a chance to have a listen to this theme, Carl? Did you like it at all? Did you think it was better?
I heard a snippet. I mean, it's nothing new. No, so it's...
Hang on, that's Rhea Ripley's, you cheat.
It's as you would expect from a theme for Aleister Black. It's kind of like a little bit gospel-y, a little bit like creepy, and then pretty much into some kind of heavy metal type shit.
Made by Def Rebel then. Starts with
yeah, surprisingly, yeah. I mean, not quite, but you're not far off either. So, yeah. I don't know, yeah, it was okay, I guess. It was nothing that you wouldn't expect from him and his character. So, yeah, it was kind of like, well, why are you sharing it, dickhead? Like, we're not going to wear it now, so, cool.
I mean, it's one of them. Like, I suppose when you put... Because he a lot of people were really looking forward to seeing him back, and he's put so much work into that character. And as much as I'm not a big fan of Aleister, and I wasn't a big fan of where they were headed with this character, it must be really frustrating when you don't get to bring that to fruition. So I do get why he's put that out there and let people go like, this is what you were gonna get,
Yeah. Like
here's what you could have won.
I am very open to eating my words on this guy, but yeah, I don't get the hype. I never have got the hype. So I'd love it if he went to AEW, became from some mega talent, and I was just like, wow, what a poor judge of talent I am. But it's just so mediocre for me. Don't get
This
it.
is the trouble, though. I'm so sour on his character, and again, I'll say character. I don't know him as a person, and I don't want to sound like I'm being a dick. But I was so sour on his character, like when he left, and people are like, "Oh yeah, we get to see him," like what was the speculation about? Like, oh, he can't do this, he can't do that. Like his character is gonna have to be different because WWE come after him otherwise. And there's so many people are like, oh, his Tommy End character isn't that far from Aleister Black, and it was that line that I'm like, oh, that's disappointing. Like,
Well, yeah.
I shouldn't feel that way, but I hope it's nothing like Aleister Black because I didn't get it.
I mean,
Maybe
to
I'm
be
an old
fair,
man.
I heard him kind of talking a lot about how much effort and work he puts into his characters, and he's so character driven and stuff. And it's like, well, really? Like, Aleister Black was fucking nothing, and he was just a guy who came up from some weird little,
Yeah. He's the embodiment of Ramblin' Rabbit because
Yeah.
every promo he cut in the ring was just stuff. It was just
And it was
weird.
like, I'm not a vampire, but I'm going to be raised up like this from hell,
Yeah.
and then
I mean, what I
that's the
will
only
say
thing you're
is,
going to get.
I think in the time I'd seen him in WWE, I think some of the problem was there was literally no direction. Like him going into a feud with Kevin Owens was probably the closest I've ever seen to an actual feud, and that didn't fucking happen. But like he would just be like, I think he didn't like. But it might have been Kevin Owens actually. I don't know, whatever. Like, yeah, I think it was Kevin Owens, wasn't it? He attacked after he got blinded for some reason. Because I've been talking random shite for a while now. So it was Big E he was going into a feud with, but Kevin Owens he'd actually sort of feuded with. But even that, it's like he hurt his eye, and it was Buddy Murphy who did that, I believe. So like he's come back to attack Kevin Owens for some reason, and every time he'd cut a promo, it was like they'd gone, well, you're a good talker. You go out there and say some stuff. And he's like, what about? And they're just like, just say some stuff. So I don't know whether some of it is like WB going, we've got nothing for you at the minute, but just fill some time. Because I think that's why it came across a bit more rambly, because he wasn't actually feuding with anyone in some of the promos I've seen where I'm like, what the fuck is he talking about?
But that's what worries me, because to be fair, no talent ever gets that opportunity to go out there and just say what they want, because everything's so fucking scripted in WWE at the minute. And this guy's there saying, I put so much effort into my characters and all this kind of stuff. It's like, well, that's what you did. You just chatted a load of nonsense. You went away for how long? Came back and read a book. It's like, fucking hell.
I feel like I'm like defending him, and I don't know why. But like,
stop it.
When WWE is so sort of closed, like, what can he do? Because like he can't even like play the tactics and set himself up for something, because like creative will go, no, we're not doing that. So he just becomes the guy who talked a load of shit and nothing happened. So it's like,
You've
I get
changed.
why it had to be directionless in a way. I've not changed. I still didn't
You
like
have.
the character, but I'm blaming WWE for it. Damn it.
love Baron Corbin. Getting
Look, I will look.
warming up to Aleister Black.
Look, Carl, you're gonna have to let this go. I'm gonna die on this hill over the Baron Corbin thing, right? There is no reason that it's a viable feud, and I'll talk about this when we get to SmackDown. But there's no reason it's a viable feud that someone stole his stuff and won't give it back, and he is still the bad guy.
Yeah.
He might as well be feuding with the guy who robbed from the Thunderdome.
Everyone cheering for that guy as well. Have you seen? I don't know if it's a meme or what, but somebody said something like Baron isn't actually his first name. He was just a Baron before he became king. So like he is Baron Corbin. And I just thought that was fucking brilliant. Imagine if that's the big reveal. It's like,
what do you become after you've been a king?
Dead.
Damn.
Zombie Corbin.
He'd be Duke, I suppose, wouldn't he? You don't have the title of king anymore, but you're still lordly, so I imagine a Duke.
Yeah, like it.
That actually kind of works for his biker gimmick, doesn't it? This is Duke.
He's a hazard. So that's what we had to say about Aleister Black. The next one, we go.
Yeah, 80% of that wasn't really related to the topic, but yeah, that's what we had to say.
Pretty much. That's the respect we have for Aleister Black. So the next one to talk about is that well-known company, Clearbridge Investments. So apparently they're an investment.
You're an investor guy. You'll probably know them.
No one's an investor. No, it's certainly
not
one
of them.
At this show.
Investigators, or whatever you call yourselves.
But yeah, so they are an investment management firm. and they published their mid-cap strategy, first quarter 2021
Oh,
investor
that's
letter.
good. I've been waiting for the mid-cap strategy of first quarter of 2021.
Yeah, I had the beginner cap strategy, so I'm glad that they're showing progress with the mid-cap strategy.
Oh, yeah.
But
I'm waiting for pro. I'll sign up at that point.
They basically mentioned in their Q1 2021 investor letter that World Wrestling Entertainment was part of it, and that they basically have sold their shares. We also sold World Wrestling Entertainment as we believe the shares reflected full value after finally signing a US content distribution agreement. So, does that just mean that the share price went up after the Peacock deal and so they cashed out? Does it mean...
I mean, it makes sense like that you go, well, that's probably like they've got a good deal with Fox, they've got a good deal with USA, and they've got a good deal with Peacock. Is it going to get much better? I get the cash outs, I really do. In all fairness. But is this an example? I don't know how big ClearBridge investments are in the world of investments, but is this a clear sign that a lot of the companies are going to be doing that? And then again, would that detract from the value of the stock if we're going to start selling it because it's actually worth money now? When you see stock selling in rapid amount, then because they're advising to sell, then that does not have a scary implication. I don't know.
Well, that would also raise a few questions around whether the investors do know anything about a sale or not, because if they are investors, would they sell now if the company was going to be up for sale?
I feel like we need to hire an investor guy to explain this shit to us,
Yeah.
Like, just one week, we go, explain to us the share thing and how WWE is either in good situation or bad situation, because I don't know.
Yeah. Manage my portfolio. Buy me some shares in
what is a
Pringles,
stock?
damn it. Is it what you put as the base of a soup? That's what I know.
Why should I not buy Dogecoin?
Yeah.
Well, how is the $1 Million Man so successful? I've got tons of questions for this investor guy.
That's it. But yeah, so just a little bit of a small piece of news there, but one which may have some interesting future connotations down the line. So yeah, ClearBridge went right over that bridge and sold their shares. It's clear.
So, speaking of bridges, hang on, I can get there. Some bridges have train tracks, which have trains. Braun Strowman is the Strowman Express. We got there. Let's talk about Braun Strowman. Right, so this is a bit of an odd one, Carl, but I feel like it was just a jumping off point to speculate some more, let's be honest, right? So Braun Strowman, he tweeted quite recently on Saturday, if you want specifics, quoting lyrics from the song Freebird by Leonard Skinner, which has a really great guitar solo if you're into that sort of thing. And he quoted the lyrics saying, "If I leave here tomorrow, would you still remember me? For I must be traveling on now, because there's too many places I've got to see." And then, obviously, we need to report on this, because is he hinting at his future? Probably not. He's probably just, putting a quote out there. But I wanted to use this as a jumping off point in some way, because a lot of people are speculating about his future in wrestling. Now, we mentioned, or say we, the royal we, I think it was his good self, Carl, mentioned last week that he might be going back into the world of competitive bodybuilding, if I said that correctly. Mm-hmm. Or is it the bodybuilding or the strength thing, the strongman stuff? I don't know. But one of the two, right? And he's quite happy to leave wrestling. But a lot of people have referenced back to this comment he made many moons ago, where he said that he owes everything to WWE and Vince, and when he takes off his boots for WWE, that's him taking off his boots. He's never going to wrestle for another company. And you go, well, okay, that he might be a man of his word, and that be the case. But I'm sure, and like a lot of people have been saying on the internet, that when he said that, he probably weren't expecting to be released unceremoniously. So, it's easy to make a comment like that when you are loyal to a company who is currently looking after you. I think there's a world of difference when they've turned around and gone, that's nice, that Braun. Because I don't think this classes as unlacing your boots. I think this classes as you still got your boots on, but you're stuck in the car park now because you're not allowed in the building. So I don't necessarily think this is a deal breaker for him being continuing in the world of wrestling. And given his excitement recently over the crowd's coming back, and he obviously, everyone gets that adrenaline rush from playing to the crowds, and he was a fan favorite at one point. I could see the itch being there to maybe wrestle in front of a crowd again, because that's something he's missed out on for the last nearly 2 years now, and he's never going to get it again if he just leaves that world. So, and I'm not saying, I don't even think he should go to AEW, but do you think we could see him in the world of wrestling?
I mean, he signed a multi-year lucrative contract, therefore intending to stay in the wrestling business for multiple years. WWE have now gone, nah, after a year and a half, 2 years after he signed that contract. So it would indicate to me that he maybe isn't looking to leave wrestling at this stage. If he was, why would you have signed, a long-term contract? So
he's going to get to a point when it's going to be less of a good option for him. He's still relatively in his prime at this point, so there could be a motivation to strike while the iron's hot as well.
Yeah, I mean, it comes as a shock because he is such a WWE guy. I don't think. Oh
yeah, he was like a man of the company, really.
Like if he goes to AEW as well, like who'd you pair him up with? Like Wardlow, Hager, maybe. Like they haven't really got.
I don't want him in AEW.
Maybe Luchasaurus, I mean, from a size standpoint, it's an interesting one. If he goes to Impact, you can put him with Big Cass or WM Morrissey, whatever the fuck he's called at the minute, WM Morrison's. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know where he goes.
Yeah, well, he's a big guy, so he's gonna be a dominant figure wherever he goes. But I would sooner see him in somewhere like Impact that could probably do with a shot in the arm and that attention. Like, what would AEW gain from him when they've got, like, all due respect to him, it's not going to be the fame thing because they've got people like Sting, they've got people like Big Show, they've got people like Jericho, all touting the name for AEW. Like, I don't think he's going to add much in terms of eyes on the product, but at the same time, they've got plenty of big guys on the main event scene. And when they're trying to push, when outside of the main event scene, they're trying to push people like Darby Allin, it's just too much of a mismatch. You know what I mean? Like, I felt that in recent weeks when he went up against, who did he go up against? Darby Allin. That guy was like 6'4" and built like a brick shit house, and he won, and it just felt like a bit weird.
Was it Cesar Bononi?
Oh, thank you, Cesar Bononi, and it just felt weird that he won clean. Like, no offense, but it's just like, I don't know, just the size difference just got me, and I'm like, I don't know, I'm looking at like, it might be like a Miro thing again, where he's there, but he's not going to get a lot of screen time. Like, funnily enough, he'd actually be a good pairing for an opponent for Miro, I suppose. But I think the best place he could go for impact for the company, and the reason the company would want him, would probably be Impact. So you got to hear first. Braun Strowman's going to Impact.
Because Anthony says so. And that was the news.
That's the bottom line.
That was the news. Another fun-filled week of pure speculation. And, load of crap that probably will never come true. As you come to love and expect from the A2theK Wrestling Show. And we'll be back talking through our 10 best finishing moves.
My hands full. What are you going to do?
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. Our 10 best finishing moves of all time after some words from these guys.
You're watching or listening
to A2theK.
The A2theK.
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 These guys are awesome. Check it out.
Check it out. Change your life. You'll be thanking me later.